All right, Eric, this is it. Maurice Comte is I'm gonna interview him in about 20 minutes. I need to eat a very quick tuna sandwich beforehand because I am so hungry. I know you're hungry because you're gonna interview him in about an hour as well. What can we say about the ending of Dominique? There is something that I have to actually ask you because I requested a another link of Dominique to refresh my memory, but and I'm gonna get to it in a second. What do you want to talk about regarding the spoilers of Dominique?
So she's chasing the family's driving away in that van, and the van crashes, and then the people chasing them with the guns catch up to them. And I'm like, well,
You think they're gonna get away? That's
that
how
they have to get away. That's always how this works in this type of
that's the
movie.
history of
That
storytelling in cinema.
that's
Cinema.
from the dawn of time to now. This is always how that works. But the little girl comes out, hands up, they just shoot her right away. Dominique comes up like right at the last second, just in time to watch the van explode, and they're all fucked. Family show.
Okay.
They're all dead.
Okay, they're all dead. They're
I
all
couldn't say
dead.
F, but I can say an entire family died in fire.
And all the while with that rocket, you think she's gonna stop them, right? You think she's either gonna kill that person with a
Yeah.
rocket or she doesn't get to it.
And because so okay, when Oksana and Michael Ojeda were talking about that this was Dominique was essentially a prequel. I'm like, well, it's just the first movie. Like in my head, prequel doesn't make sense. But then you watch the movie and it's like it doesn't make sense because that's why you don't have a happy ending. We just saw we saw whoever Dominique is in the sequel. This last scene is how she gets there.
Hmm.
So like we got to see Dominique's change into whatever she's going to be in the second one. So now that I'm thinking like the pre, it's like okay, so they're basically just saying this is not going to have a happy ending because this is going to damage and permanently scar and change Dominique from here on forward.
100%. Now, Eric, I gotta ask you this question because I forgot, and that's why I'm asking for the refresh link. Maurice Comte, he plays Chief Santiago. He's the main bad guy.
Yeah.
I forget if he gets killed in this movie. I don't think he does because he orders the whole factions, right? Or is he in one of the cars that blow up?
Oh, I
There's no.
can't. So I
I,
know that Dominique killed everybody, and then he was the one on the car like saying trying to get a hold of everyone.
okay, so
And then, but she had already killed all of them. Like, what was there, like 100 people out there?
oh, so
Like
so
some,
basically he dies with the rest of the mercenaries, or I mean, the rest of the people at the end of the movie.
I can't remember if he dies or not. I have to watch that again. I just remember, if I remember correctly, he was in the car and constantly on the radio trying to get a hold of people, but Dominique was just killing them all. So he couldn't get a hold of
Dude,
anybody.
I was the reason why, like another reason why is I was so shell shocked with that entire family dying in that what the with the ambulance thing. I was
Yeah.
just shell shocked. And that young girl, that teenage girl who comes out and she starts shooting at the bad guys, and I'm like, yeah, yeah, she's getting a couple, and then they gun her down. I go,
Yeah.
oh my God, they gunned that teenage girl down. They already gunned down her boyfriend back at the compound, back at the house. They gunned down the nice medic who was helping the family, gets shot in the head. And I'm thinking, they killed the daughter. I was already shocked. And I go, okay, well, the mother will probably have to, they still have the baby. I
Nope.
can't, nope. Bomb
Baby's gone
into,
too.
and I was, so I think because of that, I just completely forgot if Chief Santiago dies. I'm not going to mention that to Maurice Comte at all, but I'm going
Well, that
to,
would that would be spoiler anyway. Yeah.
yeah, that would be a spoiler. I do have, as far as spoilers, I do, along with this spoiler section with me and Eric, I do have Oksana Orlan and also the director, Ojeda, right? What is his name? I'm just blanking. Yes,
Michael S.
Yes,
Ojeda.
Ojeda. He talks about the ending of Dominique. And do you want to hear what he said about the ending, Eric?
What's that?
Because he said, well, the reason why everything ends bad for Dominique is because it's all about karma because of everything that she's done in her life. And
Yeah.
this was because there's no way that she can save anybody in this movie. So that was a good.
But see, that's also another reason why I'm so excited to see a sequel to this
And do you know where the
because
first?
because Dominique is not going to be the same person in the sequel. I mean, granted, it's going to be an action movie. She's going to kick ass and kill everybody, but there's going to be like something. There's you. She can't just walk away from that what just happened with that family and
Right.
not be just completely changed in some way.
And
whether she had PTSD or she decides to become a pacifist, maybe, and maybe instead of killing people, she finds other ways around it, or maybe she's just like, you know what, screw everything and everybody. Who knows? But I cannot wait to see what they do with her.
And wanted to also mention that the planned sequel, Oksana Orlan says the first moments of the movie will take place with her in the church, because at the end of Dominique, she actually ventures out to the church where she meets the pastor of the church, who is a contact of the family that were killed. So she ends up working at the church at the beginning of the sequel, and we can put two and two together and what's going to happen. Where Dominique is not going to be long for that church. She's going to do other things.
I will say, in spite of my rant about TV series, like TV series getting canceled and just being a lesser form of visual entertainment than movies, Dominique, if they never make a sequel, this movie's still rad. Like this still works as a standalone.
Yeah. Do you think Chris Purkey would have liked this movie?
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm leaning towards yes, but I don't think he would love it as much as we do.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure he would have appreciated the ending, at least as much as he might be like, oh, didn't know they would have went there with that. I don't think anyone would watch that part and say, yep, I knew exactly that was going to happen. She's trying to save the family the whole time, only to have them all just die in a fire.
You and I were.
What movie does that?
You and I, within the last minute and a half of that, we're going to inside our head. We're going, no, that's not going to happen. No, no.
There's no way that's going to happen.
No,
that they're going to get out of this somehow. Thing blows up. There's fire. Well, how'd they get out of the fire? They've been in that fire an awfully long time. Someone better do something. I don't think they're getting out of the fire. Well, maybe that baby blew out the window and landed safely on a pile of leaves or something.
I mean, it started getting shocking when I go, okay, so her boyfriend, her new love interest, the police officer, you knew he was going to get killed. Yeah. But then the grandfather gets killed, right? The grandfather dies because of the bullet. Again, you go,
oh, dude,
okay.
The grandfather's got the worst aim on the planet.
Yeah.
There's no way if they do a backstory where the grandfather was an assassin, I'm calling shenanigans on that. There's no way.
The boyfriend and the grandfather, their deaths, I understood within the context of the movie, but I started getting shocked when the teenage girl's boyfriend who was dead. I was surprised, and then it started becoming more surprising to me. So, anyways, tell us what you think of Dominique. I am going to interview Maurice Comte in about 20 minutes. Anything? Final thoughts, Eric, before we get out of here?
Watch Dominique. You know what? Watch Chaos. Who knows? Maybe a bunch of people start checking it out all of a sudden, and then we get to see more Sheila Omi. Seven Cemeteries. Maybe you want to go watch it at a midnight screening with a bunch of friends, or maybe you don't, and it sucks. I couldn't tell you because we can't review it.
Review. All right, buddy. Love you guys.
And then there was I think next week we'll talk about 3-star banger. Has nothing to do with what we're just talking about, but
all right.
Yeah, all this stuff is good. Yeah, check it all out. It's all good.
All right. Thanks again for supporting all of us here over at CinemAddicts. Most importantly, tell us what movies you're watching, and hopefully some of these movies are value added for you. Michael, very very quickly, I'm going to cut this part of the interview, and I'm going to actually save it for spoilers after the movie's released. And I'm going to actually recommend this film, and I want to talk to my podcast community about this movie. So I wanted to ask you about, just on a spoiler level, which I won't put on when this movie comes out.
We'll sue you if you do. Go ahead.
Yeah, please. So just the family, they all, no one is spared in this movie, which I thoroughly appreciated. When you started this project, was that one of your creative intents, just to make this an unforgiving movie?
Well, I think every movie should be unforgettable, not necessarily unforgiving. But I think it's more about the character Dominique herself. It was karma, and it had to end this way. It couldn't end any other way. You're talking, especially if I want to continue a franchise and do other movies. Dominique is a woman who killed people all her life. She was an assassin. She was a lethal killer, right? Now all of a sudden she decides to get out. The mafia is after her. That'll be explored in other projects. And she's trying to get away from her life and her past, trying to put it all behind her. And then she's put in a situation where she needs to protect children and use her skills to protect children and pregnant women and children. She doesn't deserve to be successful at this mission. She's failed. She's killed people all her life. She should fail miserably. She deserves to fail miserably, technically, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's karma. And so she decides, I'm going to try and do good for once. She fails miserably, right? To me, that was it couldn't end any other way. And then in the sequel, she feels guilt for losing this mission, and she decides to try and help, somebody else.
Oksana, I'm going to cut this part of the interview and I'm not going to air it before the movie comes out. I'm going to recommend your film to our podcast and movie listeners. So I'm going to talk about the ending of the movie, and I'll only release it a week after this movie comes out. So I think I see so many action movies, and this is so inventive. I mean, to me, original. Can you speak to the fact that Dominique, at least for the first time, she becomes very selfless and risks her life for this family, only to have the entire family die. That blew me away. So was that always your intention, just to have this very gritty ending to Dominique and just basically make us kind of really feel bad at the end, which I think is really, really cool. Really cool that you guys did that.
Yeah, it designed in a way that it's a stepping stone for the film, because it starts with Dominique working in the kitchen, being extremely devastated, still have her memories and depressed from what happened. How could she? She's this invincible, infamous killer, and then she couldn't do that. So that would be hunting her. And then she meets a boy, and the story will go in a direction. So it's a powerful ending. It's people never seen something like this before, and also maybe they didn't die.
Oh, okay, okay. So that is a very good teaser. Okay,
But you know what? It's just actually somebody told me this. It's not me even saying as a writer or producer. Somebody mentioned that to me at the private meeting, close. And the lady told me this, and I'm like, you're the only first one who pick up on that, because you never know, right?